Namaste, Dosto.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Khajuraho. We have finally got to what is a very special part of this tour.
It is.
1,000-year-old temples that once celebrated the true path of life. Now, this has often been misconstrued in the West as just a place of pleasure, but actually what it's really saying is look at yourself and what you decide to focus on. And so with our group we're going to explore the layers of these beautiful temples, which are only a small number left compared to what was.
That's right. Many of you would associate Khajuraho with the stone carvings connected to the Kama Sutra. So the temples always start with humanity on the outside, and then you go inward to the place of calm and the divine. And that's what we do. We live out externally, but we turn inward into ourselves. So the temples reflect that. But first we're going to the Jain temples, which I've always loved visiting because the works of art are just amazing.
Quite exquisite.
When you see how the marble is carved, it's just incredible. So something to enjoy coming up.
So see you in the video. Khajuraho. Khaja, date, fruits.
In local language we call it Khajuri.
Khajuri,
Yes.
but it's become Khajuraho. The name of this little village that holds this incredible UNESCO temple is named after these beautiful date palms.
On the top part. On the top. Yes. There's another
That rain last night.
It's just made the air so... Oh, it's lovely. It's got
It's
a coolness.
fresh.
And there's a wee breeze.
And the sun's out in between the clouds. Very pleasant.
Feeling very blessed actually by it.
Very good.
All right, friends, it's time for us to introduce to you our dearest friend, Manuji, who has been in our lives now for many years and is...
It's 8 years.
Oh, it feels much longer than that. Is that a good thing?
It's a very good thing.
And he is the master behind these tours that we get to enjoy here. So one of the reasons why our tours are so relaxed and so thoroughly loved by our guests is because in the background this maestro works so very hard to make it special.
No, it's really been a beautiful journey since we met each other 7-8 years ago.
It has
whatever.
been.
And I have been blessed. So really remarkable journey.
It's family, old family reconnecting, really, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And many more good moments to come.
So many more, Manuji, so many more.
Looking
it is
forward to it,
only just
yeah.
begun.
Yeah.
But here, what a pleasure it is to catch up with you
Yeah.
in these grand park-like surroundings that capture and hold these incredible temples.
Very nicely set up.
So beautifully set up. Gosh, it's beautiful. Like it's
Look at this.
just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Amazing.
The Archaeological Society of India. Is that what you're saying? What did you say about the Archaeological Society of India, Manu? It is
Archaeological Survey of India.
the
One of the good things that's been done by British.
one of the good things. The list is not that long, but we won't get too political on the video.
I don't want to offend my British friends.
We're just walking towards the Lakshmana temple, which is a temple dedicated to Vishnu, and we'll do our best to reinterpret the wonderful guidance we've just been given. But Yasmin, you just asked a question which bears repeating.
So I was asking, we went to Chittagong last time we were in India, and the Vishnu temple there, I came to learn, conducts cosmic energies so that you can connect more closely to the divine. And I asked, this is a Vishnu temple, do all Vishnu temples conduct cosmic energy? And the answer is yes, along with the Shiva temples.
And they're beautifully designed with interlocking stone, no cement, no metal supports. This is all interlocking stone, which has come from over 45 kilometers away to be built on top of this granite rock. This is why this site was chosen 1,000 years ago, because it was seen as so ideal.
So this is sandstone.
And that shape of that temple raising up into the sky has been very consciously designed to capture that energy.
Still well kept.
These extraordinary structures being built between the 9th century to the 13th century have such phenomenal detail in them, but it was when that kingdom came to the end of its rule that this was the spiritual capital at the time, and it moved, the capital with the new rulers moved, and with that became the decline of this area, and they became basically covered in jungles and vines until about 1848, and they were discovered by the British survey team, and that was the beginning of their journey. Not unlike Angkor Wat, which was also discovered around a similar period by a French archaeological
Which is
survey.
incredible, and we really recommend you go. We've been twice.
Yeah.
It's so huge, there's always so much to see. But this is so well preserved because this is central India and the climate allowed everything to be preserved
And not decay.
and not decay.
As they talk about the climate here is soft. And all these depictions, these are about the life at the time. So even though this is a focus on their roster system, it's about all 4 elements and areas of life that we're here to learn to master before we step more deeply into moksha, into our own state of divine connection. So it captures everything in life without a sense of right or wrong, but just what is humanity.
And the stone statue.
In this small temple, it captures at the bottom here images of people beautifully done, and every single one is different, and the main thing is all the hairstyles are different, because what that represents is actually how back 1,000 years ago Indian culture was liberal. There weren't the conditions and rules, and men and women danced, moved and acted equally together in society. So when we think we're moving forward, that's not always the case. Sometimes in the past they have so much more to teach us, with Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva holding at the top of the temple. All around the side of this wall are elephants with soldiers and having them in training. So it depicts all the different training styles, but here is what depicts the form of punishment back then, which is, you can see the body being held but also crushed by the elephant, and this was a form of punishment. Little gruesome, but I don't know if we're that much better nowadays. In this section, it's an absolute education on the journey of life. You have the tantric sexual connection at the first level, and then that rises up to a couple in just loving connection, and then that rises up to Agra, the Lord of Fire. Agni, sorry, the Lord of Fire. Take note of mispronunciation. And then on the left and right side of that middle row are 2 mythological creatures which represent desire. And there is one person fighting to control the desire and another one facing the desire as a way of mastering it. 1,000 years ago they knew more about how to make life work than we do. We've just been given ourselves a lot of permission to be entirely hedonistic on our more base desires, without understanding that our whole sexual nature is an opportunity to know the divine and God so much more. They'd mastered it back then.
Many different mythical
One of the famous sculptures here is this one, just there, because there is an assistant helping someone remove a thorn, but what she's carrying is a handbag, a purse. So 1,000 years ago, they're showing what we think is modern existed back then.
Also, the Virgin is, why do you find these erotic sculptures, outside the temple walls? Because it was a kind of a sex education. When the people came with the kids and the, your young boys and girls, they could see this is the integral part of human life. You cannot, nothing shameful about it. This is like the, birth cycle, as we believe in incarnation and reincarnation.
And this is a beautiful education in the presence of gurus. When we are with the guru, we don't see anything like ugly or vulgar. This is something very divine.
It's only, you see, even during the Mughal time, when the Mughals were ruling, things were not that bad. obviously, you know, they imposed their own things. It got worse when this colonial rule happened.
When the British turned
Absolutely.
Finally,
It is true. It is true. The facts are there. Facts are there. You know, you can.
They brought Puritanism.
Yeah, like, you know,
and
like
puritanical
this is obscene,
thinking.
You
Yeah.
cannot. This
Yeah.
is not good. You know,
Yeah.
this typical colonial rules.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we are still, you know, following those
The
rules.
reason that many steps to temples are steep is because it represents the arduousness of the spiritual life. Down lower, on the material plane, it's a little easier. But here we step in to the spiritual world. And this archway above is made of one single stone, representing Mount Ganga and Yama, the rivers joining us together in the life force. I just showed the story of how all around the wall here are the elephants facing forward, until you get to this one single elephant who is looking to the side. And he has a smile on his face. And then you go further and you can see why he has a smile on his face. So the sculptor had a real sense of humour and showed the sense of humour of elephants and what he's enjoying. But the other part of it is that, as a consequence, his foot is not on the head of the man who is being punished. So that man's life was saved. Wonderful sense of humour. And up here on the north wall, you can see a sculpture that shows pleasure being performed between people, but their hand positions show that actually it's about raising kundalini, raising energy. None of what is depicted around here is just about desire and sex. It's about the mastery of it. It's about using it as an absolute tool to raise consciousness. And all wrapped around this grand temple. This step is a half moon shape, which represents the energy of peace. So before you step into the temple, you step on the stone, which represents peace. The symbolism of these temples is something extraordinary, and they invite us to be so much more conscious of our intention and our focus and our actions. The natural light comes right through that southern entrance and lines up perfectly with the statue. And this is known as the dancing chamber, where the woman would dance with fire in their hands and worship to Vishnu. But what you can really feel in here is how these were just the centre of life. You know, we see archaeological structures that have sort of a lost history, but actually in these temples, because of what's depicted on the walls, you get a really feeling for the life that was here, and that this whole area, this park-like grounds we're in, would have been absolutely humming with life. No separation from people's sense of connection to the divine, the gods and the goddesses, and then what they step back into the world to be in. There's a constant invitation to be directed to where fulfillment in life could be for you. And it's just also said, and who you are as a human with all your desires and pleasures and senses is a pathway to follow as well, with mastery. Here's one of them. The detail in these, even though some have been damaged, is just quite extraordinary, just so beautiful. The fineness of the work, giving off the idea of translucent robes. The amount of jewellery that was worn as well. Obviously this wouldn't have been everyone's life back then, but it certainly still depicts the life that was. And the way these temples have been built, with these natural openings at each direction, allows natural light to flow in here all the time. What a magnificent example of human ability when it connects with divine understanding. It makes so many of our modern buildings look so... what would you say about the comparison to this towards the modern architecture?
Oh.
Not a thing to do, you shouldn't compare.
No, you shouldn't compare at all. I mean, some modern architecture is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It really is. And it captures a feeling and an
Yeah.
energy. But when you understand the purposes for this work, the whole life that was lived through this, the teachings of it, you can't compare.
And to imagine that these temples, like the one behind you, the smaller one, have been designed to draw energy in.
That's right. Harness cosmic energy. When I think about the basilicas and the cathedrals in Europe, they did the same thing.
It's just
and
for what
equally
purpose?
beautiful. Well, some of them were pure. Some of them were pure. But some of the teachings, some of the belief was not as embracing of all of life.
That's right.
It was suppressing parts of life
Yeah,
in favour of the divine.
yeah, absolutely.
Over the whole embracing of the life cycle, you know, that we begin with sexual union
Yeah,
and life progresses and our soul progresses. And that's the holistic part, I think, of these temples.
in many ways, life is sex, constantly creating.
Wow, the
when you-
flowers,
The birds that are
birds
singing.
singing, everything.
When you look out over that vista,
Yeah.
all of that exists because of creation.
Creation, yeah.
And unfortunately, there's been a puritanical impact. Manu was talking about the puritanical impact on India, which wasn't just the Mughals,
No, it
which
wasn't.
denied them what they knew was simple, clear and true.
And, you know, maybe, hopefully, India can reclaim so much of this for themselves again one day.
So what the Chandra rulers wanted to capture was how everything in society that took place, even what was not acceptable, but it was known to exist. These are all the different activities, the Kama Sutric activities surrounding this platform, this Vishnu temple. Nothing new under the sun. The internet is now full of pornography, which causes a great deal of unhappiness for a lot of people because of the addictive nature of it. But actually what we'll all be looking for in the end was just acceptance, connection and acceptance. And we haven't been shown how it is all possible through our sexuality, through embracing and accepting. These grounds that have only been redeveloped in the last 3 or 4 years or so, and they were more rocky, more treed, and now it's this more open park-like setting with maintained lawns, and it makes the whole site very, very beautiful. I think they've done a very, very good job with it, actually. We're now at the Kandariya Mahadeva Temple, which is the cave of Shiva.
One of the famous temples of
It's just magnificent. These thousands and thousands of stones that have been linked together, locked together, holding up this magnificent structure that accesses cosmic energy.
I'm so surprised how they are incredibly standing from like almost 950 years.
Yeah, yeah. Extraordinary. This is about activating the Kundalini, activating the chakras, and that lower one is actually depicting them lying on a bed, not standing up. I hope this comes through on the camera, but actually you can see the flow and the curves in the stone that is being used to look like sandalwood, and none of it is straight edged. It's alive. Gosh, from this perspective you really get a sense of the power and the force that's existing in this temple. Holy heck. We have so much to remember again about understanding our connection to the cosmos and the divine, and how monuments like this, when built from conscious intention, can be such a powerful reminder of the all that we're part of, connecting us to the sky and heavens.
You know, kissing, you see,
Yeah,
the leg is, you know,
raised,
lifted up,
Yeah,
little
yeah.
raised, right?
make things a little
So there is
easier.
a little delicacy,
Yeah, it's amazing,
you know, isn't it?
Amazing.
Third step he put on the Maharaj Bali.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was a demon, and then because he wanted to please the Lord Vishnu, so he
Correct.
put the third step on his head because king is considered like it, one above.
And they wander off discussing the Bhagavad Gita together.
We have already seen
Same fraternity, so we enjoy discussions, we learn from each other. So
I love it.
It's great.
Reason number, I don't know, what are we up to now? 400 and something. Why I want to move to India, hang out with these guys. Entering into the sanctum that was Shiva's. Still pulsing. The dance chamber. And there is the lingam.
This is Kandariya Mahadeva. As you can see, the door is very small. That is called Kandra. Kandra is cave. And name of Mahadev. Shivling is there, so it's called Kandariya Mahadeva.
I don't know if you're going to pick up any of this on here. Maybe in the light you can see the Shiva lingam, but
Yes, thank you so much.
this
Wow.
still pulses with energy,
God,
doesn't
what
it?
energy it is here.
What energy? We're standing in the portal point of the energy that this building has been created to hold, with a sacred lingam resting on the yoni, representing and holding life force creation.
So this is a Shiva.
Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. There's such a sense of yes in here, like life-affirming energy.
Yes.
That absolute just like yes.
So palpable, so real.
Attendant angels to bring us off the sacred space. And the dancing girls in the dancing chamber. Namaste. That was something extraordinary, to be in that sacred 1,000-year-old temple that has celebrated life and all of the diversity of life and embraced everything that is life without rejection. And we got to stand in there and sing praise to Lord Shiva.
See, the Lord Shiva was waiting for the chanting because many people visit this place but nobody get chant the mantra. But we were so fortunate that we went in the Garbhagriha and we were able to chant the holy mantra, Panchakshari mantra, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. What a gift to feel that energy and look at what you walk out of into. Again, some of these places are simply worth visiting, even though they may be seen as touristic. But they are so worth visiting because they hold such majesty and presence, and they also grasp and capture a part of the culture of India that is on its way back. It's being reclaimed again. And I love that about India. Truly a wonderful sight. And again, these moonstone, half-round moon peace stones, which invite you to step into the temple from a place of peace. So I know the Golden Triangle is the most popular tourist path of Agra, Delhi and Jaipur, and all of those places are magnificent, and we are taking our guests to Agra because it deserves it. But this place, this is high on my list of very special sites. It's because of the educational value. It helps us remember how much of our society has been impacted by thoughts and ways of seeing the world which haven't been good for us, and it's caused a great deal of suppression and repression. And here 1,000 years ago they saw it as something to master, to raise above, not get trapped in. And now we're in a very hedonistic time.
Yeah, we get our glory back.
We are,
Yeah,
little by
see
little.
the masterpiece like this.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I can imagine for you as an Indian being here.
I think
must feel amazing.
every Indian kid should come and visit here. That's what I feel. I brought my kids, you know, a month ago, and I think this is the best learning they could get.
I agree with you, Manu.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And these places as we see them now, of course, they once would have been full of colour and full of bedecked with jewels and all things of a great celebration of life. So yeah, sometimes you got to open your imagination a little further to feel the life that was really here, and the energy remains. I would not imagine anyone comes here and doesn't get affected in some way.
But unfortunately, Jono, if I give you the facts, only 10 out of 100 people come here to visit. I'm talking about the foreigners.
Okay.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Not much of movement here. Yes.
Well, there we are. Be one of those foreign travellers who decide to come to India and go to the places least travelled. Well, come to the end of a wonderful, wonderful day.
It's been really beautiful here in Khajuraho, and I'm just so happy we finally got here. We've been wanting to come for the last probably 8 years.
Yeah, really special, and it's an amazing place to come to with such enormously important history, and just really beautiful people here too. Like, it's not a big town. First we were told 15,000, but it's about 25,000 plus surrounding villages. Spent the evening walking back from the market to our 4-star hotel, not 5-star, 4-star hotel, which is very, very nice.
Very nice.
With some of the most amazing local villagers who, there's real heart connections. So.
Yeah, and we attended the local artis.
Wow.
So it's the only Shiva temple working here in the town, and I haven't experienced an arti like that before. There was a really huge Shiva lingam, and then everyone clapping and ringing bells, and it was noisy actually. It was really deafening at first because it was just in a small circular chamber, as old, I believe somebody said, as the temples.
Yeah, the other temples. It's of the same period as the 1,000-year-old temples.
Stunning.
Sorry
experience.
to get the first part on camera. I was actually having a rather nice haircut, beard trim, and shave. So, but we have to now attempt to get to sleep while outside
Our window.
there is a big wedding going on.
Beginnings of a wedding, I think.
And there's fireworks going off, and like all Indian weddings, they have very big subwoofers. So there's a lot of bass happening right now in the background.
So hopefully it doesn't go too long, because we're at breakfast at 7 a.m, on the bus again at 8, and we're off to...
Well, you'll find out in the next video.
Yeah, we'll let you know in the morning.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Thanks for watching. It's exciting. It's cool watching the channel grow. Didn't expect it to take off the way it has. Loving the comments. Thanks for all the feedback. Even the ones that go, it's nice to see older people having such a great time. You know what? Life gets better as you get older.
Yeah, we don't feel that old.
See you in the next video.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.